Hey, good evening, everyone. This is State Representative Brad Halbrook, founding member of the Illinois Freedom Caucus, with a Tuesday night live stream and roundtable. And I'm joined by State Director Colin Mosley, Chairman Chris Miller, Treasurer Dan Calkins, and Vice Chairman of the Freedom Caucus, Blaine Wilhauer. Welcome, everybody. What's going on?
Another day in paradise.
Well, thanks for everybody joining us tonight. We've had our share of a little bit kind of glitches here this evening, much like Springfield's been for the last several weeks, just filled with, well, maybe that's a good thing, filled with more glitches than not. But anyhow, Chairman Chris Miller, give us some more words of welcome there, and let's go around the table.
Well, I'm glad to see we're staying true to Springfield time. We're only 14 minutes late. That's almost a record for when you go into the Capitol Dome. But as we are finding out in real time, there's a reason why they call this the Bad Idea Factory, because it's a gift that keeps on giving. But looking forward to the conversation this evening, and thank you for joining in.
Excellent. Vice Chairman of the Freedom Caucus, Blaine Wilhauer from the 110. Welcome. Words of welcome, please.
The 10. Yes, it's good to be here, Bradley and Dan and Christopher and Colin. Pleasure to be here. We're up here in Springfield. Chris and I and Dan just got out of a energy and environment committee. Interesting things. Always interesting things in that committee. More about environment than energy, but that's the way things work here in Springfield. But excited to be here tonight, and just pushing this thing through the finish line. The Freedom Caucus is the vanguard of conservatism here in the state capitol in Illinois, which is a pretty low bar, but we do it really good to be.
Exactly. And treasurer of the Freedom Caucus from Decatur, Dan Calkins. What's words of welcome from your neighborhood?
Good evening. Yeah, everything's great. We're suffering through a couple of bad committee hearings today. I don't know where these ideas come from, and I know Colin's got a couple slides up. We'll talk about some of this just nonsense. Nothing that we're doing is going to make Illinois better. We're not working hard to keep companies here, and we're certainly not working hard to attract new businesses. So it is how it is. We're going to do our best to keep our caucus, going down the straight and narrow path. Try to work with some of the Democrats to curb some of these bad ideas. But we're in the thick of it for sure now.
Right, exactly. And our state director, Colin Mosley. And Colin, congratulations. I don't know, new baby, what, 4 weeks ago? How long's that been now?
Long enough that I haven't slept enough to remember. 7 weeks on Wednesday. So,
okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
and
Colin's wife, Kate, told me personally the other night when we were down in Clay County that Colin is certainly sleeping a lot more than what the baby is, and minds are complaining.
Yeah, exactly. Well, hey guys, let's get into this. We've got a few slides here, kind of give us a kind of an update on what's been going on or not been going on in Springfield, however you want to say it. Chris, you were kind of picking on me about being 14 minutes late. We were only 45 minutes late today. We were supposed to start it at noon, and I think it was 12:45 before we got rolling. So we're not doing too bad, right, compared to Springfield. So yeah. So what's going on right now in Springfield?
By the way, I was just wanting to see how sensitive you were.
I understand.
Go ahead.
It's indicative of how Springfield works. Basically the only major piece of legislation that we've done here is to give over complete control to the Chicago Public Schools to the teachers union. I think it speaks very, very clearly of who's really got the power in this place. That's the public sector union, folks. We literally gave control of the largest school system in the state. spends the most money, straight to the teachers union. The same people basically have hindered the upward mobility of minority students more than anyone in the entire state.
Right.
But money special interest gives big money to politician, and politician gives them whatever they want. Got to end that cycle
Right.
in this state.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. So out of the last 2.5 months, that's about the only thing that's happened on the floor was that bill that you just spoke about happened last week. And but again, committee action, kind of wall to wall. There was a lot of committees canceled a couple of weeks ago, but now they're kind of back to having it. But one committee I was in this afternoon, they didn't move any bills except some 3 or 4 in the subcommittee to never be seen or heard from again. So yeah. Any thoughts on this, gentlemen, before we move to the next slide?
The subcommittees are the new rules committee.
Yeah, right.
Correct.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So here's some bills that's come up on our radar screen, guys. Just kind of give you a little bit of a flavor, a little tenor for what's going on. Of course, the one there in the middle was really hot. Still kind of a thing, but it has created quite a stir on the California emissions, the truck ban bill. Gentlemen, I'll let you guys just kind of have at these 3 different bills and kind of comment at will.
Well, there's nothing
I don't have
like,
a diesel.
Yeah, nothing like putting legislation in place that basically just literally says that we follow whatever California wants to do on emissions. That's almost literally what that is. That's the definition of insanity.
Right. Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's still heard in committee.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, you go down this list and you see that, these might only be 3 bills, okay, but they are reflective of the agenda of the Democrats. And as Blaine always says, this is their religion. They don't believe in God. They believe in the liberal agenda. And so nothing on this list to help the working taxpayer put food on the table, nothing to help improve education. Matter of fact, there's mandates to continue to hinder education and classroom time. And then, of course, your 9-year-old walks up to you and says, "Daddy, I want to be a girl." And, they have a male anatomy, and you say, "Well, that's not how that works." They call DCFS and you lose your parental rights. So that's where the Democrats are at in Springfield these days.
Yeah. Yeah. Sad, but true. Well, and just to touch back on this California emissions bill, I know we've all done a ton of stuff on it, trying to communicate back to our constituents to try to get them to weigh in on witness slips. And there was a fairly large outpouring of witness slips. But this basically turns over the regulation of our trucks here in Illinois to an unelected board of bureaucrats in California. So if they change the rules in California, it changes the rules here in Illinois. How absurd.
Immediately.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, obviously the people in Illinois aren't smart enough to come up with their own regulations. So here we go. We're going to try to follow California. I've talked to 2 trucking companies, and they said if this bill ever became law, they're gone. They've already moved some of their equipment out of Illinois when the license plate deal went through. But they said if this happens, and that's just 2, but every trucking firm in the state of Illinois will go. They'll leave, and then how are you going to move things? How are you going to get stuff moved around? And then what's the cost of it? And farmers, I mean, Chris, Blaine, how are you going to get your crops? How can you afford to get your crops to market?
Mm-hmm.
No, it's an ongoing problem with the new radical, I would say almost crazy Democrat agenda. It used to be that elected officials served the people that they represented, and their purpose was to make their lives better. And we see the new Democrats, it's exactly the opposite. And this is just not normal, but it's proof in real time that the Democrat Party is bought and paid for by radical leftists that are lobbying to make sure that they stay in power. And anymore, it's just normal versus crazy.
Right. Yeah. Guys, here's where you can find
You
us
know,
at IllinoisFreedomCaucus.org. I want to click that slide off and we'll just kind of open it up here. Dan, you started in before I interrupted. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Well, no, this is further proof that what you're seeing in Illinois is that the Republicans, particularly the Freedom Caucus here, but the Republicans have become the guardian of personal rights and liberties and less taxes. We're fighting every day for the working family that's trying to afford to live. And the Democrats just seem to be focused on these high dollar special interest groups, be it the guns or pollution, these radical ideas on CO2 and emissions and education and parental rights and abortion, all the things that you would have never heard from the Democrats. It's fascinating from a political science point of view. What the Republican Party is finally coming to realize is that the people that we represent, that the people that need our representation, are working families that are just trying to make ends meet and want government to get out of the way so they can provide for those families in their future.
Right. Well, there's a real opportunity to turn things around in this state of Illinois, but I don't think it's in the DNA of the radical left that has taken over Springfield, as we've commented for the last several minutes and throughout the last year and a half, 2 years. They just seem to go the opposite direction. And again, just kind of adds to the fact that, Illinois is the greatest economic development tool a neighboring or southern state can have. I mean, they prove that right every day, guys. I mean, they just continue to do it. I mean, the immigration stuff. I mean, we're seeing a bill that will move $35 million into illegal immigrants that will probably start to work its way through. I'm getting stuff here finally tonight from our staff about what that really truly does and what their intent is. And we'll have more on that in the coming days. But instead of trying to get the president to do the right thing here and secure or close the border, they're just asking for more money and blaming everybody else for it.
Well, and you can compile a pretty serious list this spring of bills that deal with accommodating and expanding the rights of illegal immigrants. We are going to appropriate more money and appropriate more rights to illegal immigrants than we are to U.S. citizens this spring, bar none. We're going to offer voter IDs to natural persons. We're going to make sure that you can't deny them a social worker license based on immigration status. We're going to make them firefighters now. The rhinos and the Democrats made them police officers last year. Now let's make them firefighters too, I guess. Just the list goes on and on and on. You probably at least 24 bills that deal with them this spring.
Right. Yeah. So here's just, this is probably not the cool thing to do, but this is just kind of in real time. Basically, the synopsis on this HB 2822. This is in response to the number of migrant students who have come to the Chicago area. CPS Chicago Public School received federal funding to help students acclimate, but the suburbs do not. So this is a $35 million appropriation to support newcomers. And it'll go into the formula for public education. And so this will be done. I think that's going to try to get appropriated and out this spring yet, but that's $35 million to support newcomers, which are the illegal immigrants' kids, if you will, into school. So that's what we're up against.
Yeah, it is. Literally. And that and more.
Yeah. And that's what you're reading from, Brad, is that's the Illinois State Board of Education. That's their budgetary request to do this. They're fully on board, you know, but when you're a sanctuary state, when you're opening the doors to these, inviting these folks up here, literally rolling out the red carpet on it.
Right.
I mean, you know, at some point, I suppose that if you're rolling out the red carpet, you have some sort of responsibility on that, and that's the pick state government's got itself in. You know, they've welcomed all these people here. We can't afford it, and now you got to do something, because they won't. You know, the thing would be to, you know, end the sanctuary policies in this state. That would shut off most of this, but they won't do that. They certainly won't do that. Got to find a way to, you know, take money from hardworking taxpayers, take money for seniors that, you know, certainly don't get free health care and certainly don't get free prescription drugs, and, you know, take them from property tax, which are already the most punitive in the nation. That's what we're dealing with here. Just because, you know, fantasy land policies, they're not willing to give up their political narrative, so they got to go back to the taxpayers of Illinois and demand more, and that's what this 35 million is all about, and that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Right. Yeah. So go ahead, Chris.
I was going to say, if you look at some of the things that we've been looking at so far, a lot of the legislation is increased fees, increased penalties, this and that and the other, to try to generate more capital for the governor to waste on his pet projects.
Right. Yeah.
Well, right now it's to make up for his $900 billion deficit in his budget.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, $900 million worth of new fees and taxes that aren't even legal yet, and that's how he plans to balance the budget. And so, that's the pixie dust that they must buy by the barrel load to sprinkle all over the General Assembly chambers to make this stuff all work out, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've seen this before.
Right.
I mean, this is what they do. You know, taxes and fees, license plates. I mean, it just goes on and on and on.
Right.
You know, $10 here, $20 there. The next thing you know, it's costing you another $150 a month just to live here.
Yeah.
Right.
And all that goes into the general revenue fund, which then takes that money and right now, I mean, you know, $1 billion. Let's just call it what it is. It's $1 billion in aid to illegal immigrants, people that are here that cannot stay here, will not be allowed to stay here, but we're going to take care of them for the next 2 or 3 years until they can get a hearing and sent back home. And we're paying for it. It's coming right out of your budget, right out of your pocketbook. We're going to have declining services, social services. They're going to get money from the declining social services. They're going to take money out of the state police for protection. I mean, it just goes, every place is going to take a haircut, except the $1 billion that's going to the illegal immigrants in this state. And it's wrong. It's absolutely wrong.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Colin, I'm sure we've left a couple of stones unturned, but we'll leave some of that for seed for next week. Hopefully, we're back. Of course, next week is election day on Tuesday, the primary 1 week from today. We're scheduled to go back in Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I guess it remains to be seen if we will maintain that schedule. But yeah, so I don't know what we probably won't do a live stream next Tuesday night, just because the elections will be wrapping up at this hour and the returns will start to come back. Colin, any closing thoughts? And then let's just go Colin and Dan and Blaine and Chris, and then I'll close out. Okay, so Colin, go ahead.
All I have to say is we look forward to another day of fighting for you in the Capitol tomorrow, and next Tuesday, make sure you vote for Blaine Wilhauer and Brad Halbrook.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Dan.
And Adam.
Right.
And Adam Niemer.
Yeah, and Adam Niemer.
That's
Color
right.
in the circle.
There you go.
Color the circle, Ann.
Yeah, it is. And it's very, very important. All of you people that are listening, you know, we really do appreciate you. I know I was out in the district the last 2 weeks, and I hear from my folks all the time. You know, we really look forward to the Freedom Caucus and their broadcasts and newsletters and emails and things that are coming out. Well, this is your chance. This is your chance to help us.
Right.
We've got 3 of our members that are going to be on the ballot next Tuesday, 1 week from today. And we really need you to step up. We need you to get your folks out and vote for Blaine and Adam and Brad. It's very, very important, and it's important to the future of Illinois. So let's get out and vote, and let's get everybody out and vote, and let's get our members back here on Wednesday.
Exactly.
Amen.
And Blaine, your thoughts? Go ahead.
Now, that sounds good, guys. You know, the Freedom Caucus has we've changed the direction of politics. It's especially inside the Republican Party. You know, everybody on this screen here today, their preceding member was basically funded by. We've to represent the people. Not the special interest. Right. And what you're seeing right now is they are desperate. They're trying to pump hundreds of thousands of dollars down into these districts to try to buy them back. And we're not going to allow that to happen. Our existence, basically your existence is a threat to their power. So, not only do we have to beat these people next Tuesday, we've got to send a message to these. So we need to get out in big numbers and make sure you vote for Brad in the 107th. Make sure you write in our friend Adam Niemerg up in the 102nd, and get out there and let's send a message in the 110th, guys. This is our moment. So thank you guys so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Chris? Chris, closing thoughts. Hope we didn't.
Yeah. Well, I was just sitting there thinking about my friend, the great philosopher, Senator Kennedy, and I don't know if you guys follow him, but he's always got some good words of wisdom, and I just want to leave you with a few of his thoughts as we close out here. But he said that Americans, and we'll make it personal, Illinoisans do not deserve to be governed by deeply weird, nauseously woke people who hate George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Abraham Lincoln, Donald J. Trump, Dr. Zeus, and Mr. Potato Head, who hyperventilate on their yoga mats if you use the wrong pronoun, who think kids should be able to change their gender at recess if that's what they want to do, and who carry Ziploc bags of kale to give them energy, and at the same time they think they're better than all of us. And just as a sidebar, by the way that kale tastes, I think I'd rather be fat. That's my words of wisdom for this evening.
Right. Well, thanks for Chris. I appreciate that. And guys, I just want to extend.
Go ahead, Brad.
Yeah, thank you. I'm not sure where to go. I'm just going to extend the invitation to all you out there that are listening to us and watching us to come to Springfield this spring. Take the day and come up. Let us know you're coming so we can accommodate whatever needs you may have. You'll go away a change.
Are you okay?
Yeah, hopefully. So anyhow, guys, like, share, follow, subscribe to our content. And with that, let's close out and say good night, everyone.